So you are afraid of something else. You're gonna mad sometimes.
You don't know what death is. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Welcome to the madness.
We are the Mouths of Madness, your new favorite podcast for horror movie reviews. We're coming to you live tonight from the Dungeon of Doom. This is our episode 15 on the 2017 Get Out. My name is Kevin, and let me introduce you to the other members of Madness. First, we have Dan. Dan, are you excited to talk about Get Out?
I'm very delighted to be here to talk about Get Out. It's such an amazing film, but it's not nearly as amazing as The Crow. It is the defining film of our generation, and I would love to talk more about it. Thank you. Eric Draven is a saint. We should all be worshiping him.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry, it's running a little bit late here. How's everybody doing?
Oh, hey.
What do you guys got going on here? You guys start yet already, or
You know what?
what do you guys got there? Tea or something?
It's very delicious.
What?
I'm Bearclaw. I'm glad you could join us. Oh, you're right
What's
on
going
time.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm glad.
Before we get into our episode, we wanted to talk to you about the movie The Crow.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't want to talk about that movie anymore. I've heard enough whining today.
Oh, Bearclaw.
It's not very nice.
No, neither is that. I don't know. Just don't want to have any more poignant pieces of wisdom coming from Eric Draven, like it can't always rain.
Well, Bearclaw.
No.
I don't want any lightning bolts of wisdom to hit me,
No, don't. The Crow's good. The Crow's good. No.
Yeah.
No.
Now, Bearclaw, you're going to go into your sunken place.
What? What? What?
Here's your leather pants and your face paint. Now get into the right mindset. You're angry and sad at the same time. So now you'll be able to enjoy The Crow.
I love The Crow.
Yes.
It is great.
Fantastic.
His lines are meaningful and deep. They're
So much
complex, like onions.
So many layers.
So many layers.
Beautiful.
Appreciate you
Eric
changing your
Draven's
opinion,
poetry
Bearclaw.
makes my heart sing.
It's like wiping your ass with soap. Beautiful.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you. And finally, we have the youngest member of Madness, my son Logan. Logan, are you excited to talk about Get Out?
He's so overjoyed. I love it.
I can hear it in his voice.
There is much to rejoice.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about Get Out.
So much joy in this room, Logan.
I feel it all over.
Yeah, over my body. In ways it shouldn't be touched.
These leather pants aren't too tight at all.
They definitely don't chafe.
Well, I know that there are a lot of other great horror movie podcasts out there, but what separates us from the other ones is that we're going to be giving you the older versus younger generation perspective. Myself, Dan, and Bearclaw, we are the old timers, while my son Logan is the youngster. This is the clash of the generations. Now, before we get into the episode, I want to plug some of our stuff and where to find us. Please go follow us on Instagram. That's at mouths.of.madness. Please go subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's at Mouths of Madness. In fact, we just recorded a review for Straight Jacket Talk on the movie Train to Busan, so it should be out by the time this episode airs. So please go check that out. And finally, email Bearclaw at thepaddedroom@outlook.com and let him know if you've ever been hypnotized before.
Yeah, let me know if you've had to bark like a dog or act like a chicken, or if you've been made to do anything else through hypnotism. Nothing unsavory, of course. But nonetheless, let us know about your hypnotic experiences at thepaddedroom@outlook.com.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe they've been turned into a man just wearing underwear with a cape on.
La la la, Captain Underpants. For our content consumed this episode, we're going to let you know what we've been up to. What have we been watching? What have we been reading, listening to, or gaming? Now, for me, Logan, my son, has gotten me to start watching The Umbrella Academy, which I've been enjoying. We're still in the first season, right?
Yeah, we're only like episode 6, so we're getting there, but you know.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good show. It's very, I would say, engaging. You know, a lot of story, trying to get you invested, and it's been pretty good. I'm excited to see the next one. There's always a hook like that makes you want to watch the next one, which I love. And like I said in the opener too, on Straight Jacket Talk, we just reviewed Train to Busan, so I just saw that movie for the first time as well. I know I'm behind on the Train to Busan.
I haven't seen that movie either, but I
haven't either.
I really want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy Korean movies. They're
Yeah, they're really good. This one was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only one because it was really good. Logan's, you know, he was pushing through for me to see it for a while, and it was on my list, but I finally saw it, and I gotta say, for me, it is worth a watch. So if you haven't seen it, go check out Train to Busan. All right, Dan, that's it for me. How about you?
being Mr. Bearclaw. We saw Gwar last Friday.
Yes, we did.
That was a spectacle. It's always a spectacle going to a Gwar show.
Oh, yes.
You come in completely dry, clean, and you come out
lot of
soaked
wedding
in
dresses.
fake blood.
A lot of wedding dresses.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Chicks like to wear wedding dresses to the Gwar show so that they come out as a blood-stained bride.
That's cool. I love the visuals. I love the picture you sent me. That you and Bearclaw looked awesome, covered in blood.
Yep.
There was much viscera.
Has that made it to our Instagram?
Not yet.
Well, I will put it on there. And you can all check out Dan and Bearclaw covered in Gwar blood.
Yeah. Gwar. And then obviously the boys dropped, so that's kind of occupied my time. The new Elden Ring DLC dropped. That's been on my.
You already jumped into that yet, or no?
I jumped into it a little bit on Friday.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very difficult, and
I've heard
enjoying the
so.
challenge. Yeah, you have to really get creative. This DLC, you got to use a shield. You got to shield and parry. It's a shield and parry game.
I hate
DLC.
that. Always hate
I love
that.
it.
Yeah, well, I'm not a defender. I'm a fighter.
I love me the
Well, then
fingerprint
you should be
shield.
playing Bloodborne.
Oh, we'll get to mine.
And then lastly, just a personal note, I just wanted to congratulate my brother on his retirement from 24 years of service in the Air Force. Congratulations,
awesome.
Josh.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pass that now on to Bearclaw.
I finally took the dive. I ended up watching Midsommar. And let me tell you, that movie, I'm not going to go to Midsommar.
It's ASMR, but it's Midsommar.
Midsommar. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic movie. I'm not going to go too much into it just in case we do end up covering it at some point. But
I think we will.
I've been holding off on
You know my has better cover that.
I've been holding off on watching it for a long time. I finally just decided to just dive in head first. It was, pretty excellent. I would highly recommend it for most people. So, but that's what
If you got 2 words to describe it, what would you say?
Mid and summer.
I know.
I got 2 words. I know my 2. Florence Pugh. That's all you need. That movie would get me hooked. I watched Little Women because of her. That's how obsessed I am. And that book was depressing as hell.
Well, Florence, if you're out there, I think you've got a caller here with Logan. So
Friend of the podcast.
I
Friend of
respect
the
her too much
podcast.
to ask.
Florence Pugh.
Yes, sir.
All right. How about you, Logan?
For me, watching The Boys as well, watching House of the Dragon, definitely a big Game of Thrones fan, so got to check into that. Not into it as much as Game of Thrones, but I'm trying. I like the books, so I like what they're doing with it. Big thing I did do was I finally got PS5 this last week for graduation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Excellent.
excellent.
And I started playing the new Spider-Man game. Can safely say I rage quit after 2 minutes of playing.
Really?
No. It was like, I don't know, probably like 3 days into it. I got to like this really hard boss level and I was like, God damn it, I'm not defending myself anymore. I just started running away from the mission.
fuck this shit.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, can I get across this? And they're like, no, you got to go through it to get to the next step. And I was like, fuck.
Well, not playing this game anymore.
I just gave up on it, but I'm going to go back, play it. I played a little bit of Elden Ring too on it, so I like it better than the PS4. So definitely a good purchase. But yeah, I mean, the big thing this week was obviously graduating high school. So
Congratulations. Yeah.
Hey.
finally done with that chapter
Our
of my
boy
life.
grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It had to happen.
had to happen at some point, especially in that hellhole.
Oh.
That was my sunken place.
Oh, dang.
I think it's a lot of people's sunken place.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Without any further ado, grab a beer, pull up a chair, hold on to your straitjacket tight, and let's dive into the madness. We watched Get Out from 2017. It was written and directed by Jordan Peele. This is his directional debut. Is that a word?
Directorial.
Directorial.
Yeah, there we go.
Direction, Davey.
Hey, I need help sometimes, right?
Tomato, right?
Yeah,
Need a
same
little
thing.
help from your friends. It's okay. We'll be your Ringo.
Now, what's cool is Jordan Peele is an actor who's well known for his comedy, and especially on the show Key and Peele.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a funny show. I've seen some.
Oh, yeah. I
So
love that
funny.
show.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool that Jordan Peele, known for comedy,
Yeah.
writes and directs
Kind of like Seth Rogen.
this film.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. I was thinking that
Yeah.
same thing. I
I didn't realize he also had a writing credit on Alien Covenant.
I didn't know that either. Danny McBride did?
Yeah.
Well, it's time we check in with Danny McBride over.
That or it was a producer. He was attached to it more than just an actor. I remember that.
I gotta say, as a big Halloween fan, his writing on 2018 Halloween I thought was really good. And there's like rumors that like they kind of
Is there a way to discern between him and David Gordon Green, like, and how?
well, so what I had read is there's rumors that Danny McBride was kind of pushed off a little bit for David Gordon Green and his vision of what he wanted with the trilogy.
All right.
That's why like Kills kind of goes like that next step beyond, and then Ends kind of goes in a way different
Gotcha.
Yeah.
thing. But getting back to Jordan Peele, I do think it's a cool idea that like these comedians
Yeah.
can kind of come up with such great
I
horror
feel like
writing.
anyone can do it.
Chris
in there.
Rock rewrote like an entire Saw movie. He did a take on Saw. That, I mean, it's decent. I enjoyed it.
That's Spiral? Is that
Yeah,
it?
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Spiral is what it was called.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't bad.
I trust Chris Rock.
Yeah, I think
Well,
listen,
Smith might not.
sometimes like, being a tortured mind leads to comedy, and sometimes
Yeah.
being a tortured mind leads to horror.
Horror writing. Yeah. I could see that.
Now, what was cool about this movie is he did win an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay.
Wow.
I mean, as a horror movie, that's pretty cool.
To win, yeah, to get
Yeah.
that kind of recognition for a horror movie. Wow.
And he was nominated for Best Picture and Best Director for this movie, too. So,
Wow.
some pretty good
Strong
accolades.
outing.
Yeah.
For his debut.
Right.
Yeah.
His directional debut.
For his directional debut.
Yeah.
Now, Get
got
Out
there.
had a budget of $4.5 million. Do you guys know how much it grossed at the box office?
Oh, I've been lowballing it for a while now, so I gotta up. I'm gonna go $60 million.
That's way too low. I'm going 40 mil.
Wait a minute.
Wait, what?
He said 60
Am I
mil.
still hypnotized?
And you said that's way too low. You went lower.
You sure you graduated?
Do you want to stay with 40 mil?
Is that your final answer?
Look, man, I'm tired. I thought you said 16 mil. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm deaf in 1 year, guys. I'll go. You know what? I might go higher than that, actually. We'll go with a nice 95 mil.
Okay, so wait a minute. To recap, Bearclaw's at 60 million.
Yeah.
Logan's at 95 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Dan,
right,
what do you
I'm very excited because this is the first time we get to do like big, ridiculous numbers. I'm going to go 145 million.
bringing out the big guns.
Yep.
Well, Dan, they weren't big enough. This movie
Oh,
grossed
no.
$255.4 million.
Fuck. Woo!
Well, it's a good thing I
still
didn't
the
stick with
closest,
my
though, right?
40.
Still the closest.
Yes,
You win.
that's all that matters.
Yes.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't stick with my 40. I swear to God, I was like, 16 million.
Oh, well, it made its money, right?
I would have guessed so. It was insane how many people were talking about it back in 2017. I remember when it first came out back in 2017, all the kids in school were talking about it. I remember exactly where I was when they were talking about it. I was in the cafeteria, and these kids were like, "Did you see Get Out yesterday? It was so cool." And I went online, and I'm like, "Dude, this movie looks like I wasn't familiar with Jordan Peele's game, so I apologize to Jordan Peele, but like at first I was like, this movie looks like it sucks. Like,
Well,
I was watching the trailer and I'm like, this looks weird and I don't like it.
well, I gotta say, it's been on my list for a long time,
Oh, yeah.
too, since then. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, this is crazy, man.
What?
Get Out has a 98% critic score.
Yeah.
And an 86% audience score. This is super highly rated. This might be
Yeah.
the highest rated movie we've done.
Well,
Yeah.
not a high bar to set when you watch the freaking Leprechaun and better watch out.
Hey, the Leprechaun has some good qualities.
It's
right?
got charm.
Listen, yeah. Leprechaun. Let's leave Leprechaun.
It's got Lucky
alone.
Charms.
little
I'm
leopard.
gonna make you I'm gonna hypnotize you guys to believe that the Leprechaun is shit.
Never.
Could happen.
Part of my core being.
I cannot be hypnotized, I'll have you know.
Now, this was Logan's pick for an episode. So, Logan, why did you choose Get Out for us to review?
Well, like I said, you know, when kids were talking about it, it was like the big movie that everyone was talking about. So, like, it was definitely a big thing that I, like, talked about. But I do have a funny story with this. I do remember when I was still in middle school, it had to be, like, the last year of middle school. And we had, you know how, like, schools have, like, the summer reading list, like usual. And they, instead of a summer reading list, they had a summer movie list.
Oh.
So I was like, that's very interesting. So I'm like, what do they have on it? They were like pretty like Anne of Green Gables or some crap like that. But at the bottom of the list, they had Get Out.
No way.
Yes.
Really?
And you know what's funny? Mom made a whole rant about it when we were
she
like,
was not happy.
she was not happy about it. And I was like, that's actually hilarious. And I went on, I think I went like a while without watching it. And it was during COVID where I saw it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's see how bad this really would be. And I like watch it. And I'm like, that makes sense to be on a summer reading list. Like, that wasn't terrible. Like, it's not bad. It's not like Terrifier. Like, it's not like a crazy, intense movie.
Yeah.
Like,
there
there's
are
no...
some horror
There are
elements.
some horror,
Oh, yeah.
but like I'm pretty sure they made it because of the, you know, the racism in the movie and the stuff they talk about. Like, you know, it's definitely like stuff at school nowadays would definitely like try to reinforce and try to like make people believe like, hey, this is obviously like a real thing in the world. But like at the same time, I was kind of like, it's very interesting how a school was just like, oh, we got these bunch of movies that suck balls and let's just pick Get Out because it's, you know, it was newer.
Listen, the school is ahead of its time a little bit.
Yeah.
Say.
Those other movies were like really bad. Like one of them was like Thomas the Tank Engine or some shit.
There's some good in that, too.
Don't hate on my boy Thomas.
No, like you're gonna make middle school kids read it. I originally thought it was like you had to do it or you weren't gonna get like something.
I wish I had a summer movie list. When
I was going to say, we didn't have summer
I
movie list.
watched
I would have been the best movie watcher.
for Thomas
Like if
the
they
Tank
did,
Engine.
if they did book it for movies, I'd have so many pins on my sweater.
They go to Blockbuster or something to get those movies. So they were like, whew.
I want to know, what are our overall thoughts on this movie? Is it your first watch? Bearclaw, start us off. What do you got here?
So this was my first watch, also my first Jordan Peele movie. So I kind of came into this fresh.
Well,
and-
we did watch Candyman 2021,
Candyman.
but that was produced and a little bit written, I think, by Jordan Peele. So this is like your first like.
full fledged of if
He's a
that's
Peele
the case,
virgin.
Yeah, I think it was definitely an interesting movie. Definitely a movie with a lot to say about a lot of different aspects of racial relationships. That's kind of a big part of this entire movie. And the undertone, it would be, you can't really separate out those two elements of it because it's so kind of in the movie. A lot of the the different racial tensions and things that, you know, he talks about. And, you know, it's meant to discuss those things. And I think that it's very good for that. Crazy concept. I mean, I think it's really neat concept, very like devious and, you know, how this guy is kind of being set up, and you see like every step along the way, how he's getting set up, and the crazy stuff that happens throughout the movie of just of what he has to go through, and how he's truly all alone in this house with this family full of just lunatics, and they're part of that, you know, order of Coagula, and you know, just some real like Operations Paperclip kind of you know, Nazi scientist stuff going on. I think it's definitely an interesting movie. It definitely stands apart, and it's tight. It makes sense. It's pretty well written. So yeah, I think it's worth talking a lot about. I got to be honest with you, a lot of it I'm on the fence about, just from it was interesting. I think it was good, and I thought it was really nice. But there's part of me that, you know, there wasn't anything that was terrifying, and a lot of the more terrifying stuff really happened in like the last few chunks of the movie. So I'm a little bit torn about that, you know, just some pacing stuff. But other than that, I thought it was really good. I thought the soundtrack was excellent. Like the sound design of this movie is beyond. Like you feel like the different songs set the tone, and like what sound is there when there's not sound there. I feel like it does an excellent job of all of that.
That's awesome. I never even thought to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Like when a movie is effectively communicating to you, I feel like you're very in sync with how the movie wants you to feel. And I think that the soundtrack of this movie did an excellent job of keeping you emotionally where the movie was when you were kind of started to feel comfortable, like, oh, maybe her dad isn't so bad, maybe he seems like a normal dude, and you know, all that other kind of stuff. And then when things go sideways, and the music very clearly tells you the story of what's going on and how you're supposed to be feeling, and I think that's a good thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't even, you know what? I'm like, Dan, I didn't consciously
I didn't use all
think
my
about that.
senses as well as you did.
I'll tell you what, this seems like a very original movie overall, which I love about that. Dan, what do you think about this movie? Is this your first watch, or have you seen this before?
I saw this in theaters, and I just kind of going retracking. Like I saw this when it came out, and I had the same exact thought, like, the dude from Key and Peele is doing a horror movie. Like,
yeah,
that's dope. Like, you know, like I love when, you know, actors, writers get out of their comfort zone. So like, that's kind of what drew me into it, to see, like, I always love that, like Jim Carrey, the Chris Rocks, the Robin Williams, like getting out and doing something different.
Right.
And it was a uniquely different movie. The movie is a social commentary juggernaut. I think it's a movie that beautifully tackles a lot of issues that we are currently struggling with. Like, and I'm going to frame it as multiculturalism versus uniculturalism. There's this rich versus poor element. And to me, it's really about powerful people being bad actors who abuse their power for personal gain. Like, and I think that's like one of the biggest struggles, like in modern society, is like this struggle in accepting, like, there needs to be some kind of restraint.
Yes.
So that there isn't these bad actors who continually abuse power for personal gain and everyone else suffers for it. Like this movie, to Logan's point, I think this is the perfect like academic movie to like do an academic paper on.
Yeah.
Like you could do a graduate
Somebody
like
did
thesis.
for my class.
Yeah, like it's such a smart movie.
Yeah.
Is how I would just frame it as, and it's fun to just observe it and kind of synthesize like your thoughts into it, and like how your worldview, your thoughts, and how you see the world and how it fits with like what the movie is trying to tell you.
I want to ask Logan, has this movie changed at all for you since you first saw it? Like, do you still see it as the same movie you did before, or how's the view now?
Well, I feel like because the last time I watched it was probably during like COVID, I didn't really have anything to do. Like I watched it literally the day before we were recording this right now. But I didn't really need to watch it as much because I was like, I remember everything that happened. I just wanted to get like, like you said, refresh. Yeah, I mean, this movie still holds up on its own. Like, it's just so well done. Like Dan said, like this could be done to be like a college paper. Like anyone could make this out to be like a huge case of just what the world actually goes with, all the social problems, the racism, the structuralism in the United States. It's a perfect like underscope microaggression of just racism in the United States. And I think even though they like, it's a horror movie, so you can't really like just flat out say like, this is about racist people. Like it's about the microaggressions and the macroaggressions that these people can hold to, because like the people that we see in this movie, the white people we see, are more older, I can't say older, more mature.
They're older.
They're older, yeah.
They're more mature. That's how
they're boomers.
Yeah. And especially the dad. I would have voted for Obama for a third term. I think because of that, like, the older people, like, especially now, like, if you have, like, older people in your family, they're going to say stuff, like, that are, like, kind of racist that, like,
Don't jive now.
Yeah, exactly. They're not very PC. But, like, just everything in this movie that it has going on, the acting, dialogue, just the overall, like, unsettling feeling of this house. Like, the second they arrive to the house, I'm like, feeling goosebumps. Like, just that house, like, overshot of it is just, like, you can tell something.
Isn't it strange how, like, a very, like, sterile and, like, almost inviting environment seems sinister.
That's why
wrong here.
I think you should be running it. You should be coming into a house that is chaos. That's how I feel when I'm like, okay, I feel at home here, rather than, oh, hello, welcome to our house. It's so nice and quiet out here. There's no one around. It's remote. Like that. I don't like that. I'm out of there in a second. You ain't gonna get me.
Like, what are you doing so remotely?
Yeah. Second he said that, I was like,
I think for me, this was my first watch, and it, like I said before, this was a movie that was always on my radar. Like, I have to see it. And I think the thing that stood out the most for me was the writing on this, the smart writing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I knew going in kind of, this was a movie that was going to deal heavily in racism and, social commentary. And how are you going to do that effectively? And because I think a lot of times if you do it over the top and too much and shove it down people's throats, it has the reverse effect, right? It's like people don't want to watch it. They're like, oh, whatever. This does it more in like this subtle real life racism that, as a white man, I've seen, like, and we've been to parties and we've been to family outings and friends that, the kind of racism you see portrayed takes place and it's commonplace. And like, I thought it was smart writing. The dad, he's a middle-aged dad, he's like, oh, my man, like, he's like, we've seen that, like, in
it's the whole polite, they coin it as polite racism.
Yeah. It's microaggressions.
I do have questions though, because I think the writing is so good. And because of how the movie plays out, they're taking the bodies of these black individuals, and white privileged older people are inserting themselves into these bodies, right? Are these people, and I'm not saying that this is what my feelings are these people generally like really racist? Like, are they doing it for the purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes into my...
It's like some weird Nazi eugenics kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
this is what is kind of going into my whole like multiculturalism versus uniculturalism argument, that the Coagula Project is the erasure of black identity and autonomy. It's being replaced with the brain of a white person. It's like heavy-handed criticism of uniculturalism, in which members at the top, their norms, their values, belief systems are baked into governing institutions. They are an anointed in-group by law that they create, while the remaining cultural bodies are appropriated for aesthetic, for generating capital, for providing people entertainment, whatever means to an end for the in-group, as long as it doesn't threaten the natural order of things. To me, the whole Coagula thing is, again, uniculturalism. It is the white identity in a black body.
Right.
It's like it sets the symbolism is just incredible.
The reason why I wanted to ask specifically this is because of the writing and what happens too, where there's also a layered reason behind some of their racial comments as well when they have with Chris.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, you have good genetics. Are you an MMA fighter? You know, I bet your body's strong. Like,
They really hate that he smokes too.
Smoke, Chris? You jonesing a little bit over there? Huh? I'm
they
quitting.
hate that he smokes. Like, it's more than just they're having these comments about, you know, because of the racism thing. There's also
There's
the thing that
class issue.
class, and they're taking over his body too, right? So
Yeah.
they're like trying to figure out, is he the perfect?
Well, because his
he the
organs
perfect
would
specimen?
be
Yeah.
his organs would be ruined if he kept on smoking like he did. So they did that in order to make it better for them to take over.
Yeah, I was figuring that out later, like, because they kept harping on the
Well,
fucking
I think
cigarette thing.
What
Like,
also makes it interesting is that art dealer too. He definitely makes like the case of like him like issuing like the thing out to Chris where he's like, this isn't really racism. It's more of just a means to an end, where it's kind of like we are doing this in order to be better than what we were. You know, like this guy, he doesn't want. It's not like they're not picking black people to be like, you know, racist. They're like as he sees it. They're picking them because they're better, fit wise, and just like overall, like they're just the better like race, like physically.
By black people.
People want to change. Some people want to be stronger, faster, cooler.
There's just a staggering amount of racism in their rationale, how they treat people, because it all goes back to that whole idea, I think, with the grandfather where he was racing Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
And he
I
was
was gonna
like,
bring that up.
And the thinking was, because like there's the order, they're part of what's called the Order of Coagula. Okay, well, what does coagula mean? And that was on the TV screen, right? Coagula is just another way of saying coagulation, to come together.
Yep.
So their idea was, and this is again rooted in awful science, eugenics thinking, and horrific racism, is their thinking was like, okay, well, black people have a superior physical form, white people have a superior mental form, so coagulating them together creates
the
like super race. Again, all of that is bad and is awful in every sense, but that's kind of how they explain their like order, so to speak, that was from the grandfather figuring out whatever weird stuff he was able to.
Ironically, he also, the dad, when he was talking about the grandfather in the picture with, you know, Jesse Owens, he talked about Hitler and like Hitler's bullshit, right? Well, isn't he trying to do the same shit
That's
as Hitler?
exactly what I was getting ready to say is like, did anybody else pick up on the fact that he was like stunting on Hitler for being wrong?
Hitler's up there with all his perfect Aryan race bullshit. This black dude comes along, proves him wrong in front of the entire world. Amazing.
And you think when you watch it, you think he's like, I'm glad Hitler like failed. He's a piece of shit. No, he's just like, no, my theory's better.
There was, you know, this idea too, because I don't know about you guys, right? I didn't do a deep dive into what this movie was about before I'd seen it. I'd only heard about what was going on. So I sat there like, did you guys know everything going on right from the beginning, or were you following along?
I knew.
Yeah?
I knew from the very beginning what was going to happen.
I didn't trust Ruth, or what was her name? I'm sorry, Rose. Rose gave me the EBGBs from square one, day one.
Well, there were two things that led me to believe that everything that was happening, and I knew what was happening, was one, when they were doing the tour, that tour really like actually told everything that was going on. Was when they obviously saw the picture of the race, you know, with Hitler and all that. And the question that he asked was, did he ever feel bad for like, you know, losing, or like anything? Like, did he ever feel mad about losing that race? And he's like, yeah, well, he never really got over it. Yeah. That really sold me.
Yeah.
That really sold me, where I'm like, okay, so they're taking over these people. And then two was when he was outside at night, Chris, and he saw the two like doing eerie things, and I'm like, So they're mind control. There's some kind of hypnotism
Yeah, that's
going
what
on.
I thought too.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so from the jump, I was like, okay, so grandma and grandpa took over the people there.
There was a scene, and
I just realized that on this watch through of it for this episode.
Yeah. Oh, that they were grandma and grandpa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
so I saw too, and I want to ask you a question on that. On one of the YouTube videos I saw and trying to come up with the research for this movie, the father actually tells Chris exactly what's going on when they get to the kitchen scene in the tour. And what's her name? Georgina?
Yep.
Is in the kitchen, and he's talking about his mother and how they still keep a piece of her in the kitchen.
My mother loved her kitchen, so we keep a piece of her in here.
Oh.
Because she loved the kitchen so much, she's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to know about the grandma and grandpa, right? They were in the bodies of Georgina and Walter, correct?
Yeah.
The exes of
Yeah.
Were they doing their like servant jobs like as a facade for Chris?
I think they were just making it look like they were doing it, but they didn't actually do anything.
All right.
I don't know. They looked like they were doing actual work.
Well, they might. I think the grandpa might, but I don't think Georgina would, or whatever you want to call her. I feel like what I got from it when they were doing the work is they were kind of just doing this like around him, and when he wasn't around, they weren't doing anything.
Okay, yeah, that's my question.
that
Where
could be
was
it.
it a facade for Chris?
Okay, so this is what got me was. Do you remember when we watched WandaVision?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Vision went outside and there was like that whole neighborhood where they were just standing around doing nothing?
Yeah.
Because no one had visited that part. That's how I saw it.
Okay.
That's how the hypnotism works. Is like when Chris is there, someone else that doesn't like, that's not a part of the whole like thing isn't there. They are doing nothing because they obviously don't need to be.
Yeah.
So like him running around the place, like doing all that stuff is just to like get back to what like he's supposed to be doing. And she is obviously like staring at the window aimlessly just to be what, and waving at him. Before then she wasn't waving at him. Like she was just standing there menacingly like Patrick.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
Yeah, because I mean, I was like,
It
wait
was
a
just
minute.
very
If they're
eerie.
grandma and grandpa, why are they like doing these? Like, why are they having?
Why are
them
they
as
doing
servants?
the chores?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be like, yeah.
Maybe it is their home, and they're like
Just
they
doing
want
their-
to
They're in their
continue. They
retired
want to
years.
continue to maintain their home. They still want it to be their home, and they got younger bodies, and they got their children there.
Yeah.
I think it's more for familial
Yeah.
reasons
Yeah.
than anything.
Because there were two scenes with Walter that really, to me, like showed that he was grandpa. The first was like the most apparent one, which is the one where he's running at night, right?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to be
Yeah.
a runner again now that he's in a body.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't.
trying to
I
be-
was trying for the life of me to figure out why
Oh
is he
my
running
god!
like
I
that?
just realized that after two watchers that he's running because of the
he's a track
Didn't
star.
pick up on that?
I picked up on that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, I
say.
picked up on that without
That went right over our
any
heads.
research on it. But this one I did see in a research video. When all the party members arrive, Walter is the one greeting them and hugging them because it's
I
his
did
party.
miss that. Oh,
This
I
is
see.
Grandpa's party that he started. So
Oh, all right.
that's
I see.
Yeah, because and the writing's so fucking good in this because the dad does say like, oh, they were beloved members, like trying to act like Georgina and Walter are part of the family, right? So like, okay, that would make sense to the viewer. Like they're beloved by everybody. They're part of the family. You know what I mean? But there's giveaways in like all the family photos on the wall don't have them in there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. We couldn't let them go. Also felt very
Oh yeah, we
where-
couldn't let them go. That's a good.
Yeah.
he was just like, oh man, I'm so fucking brilliant for making these all.
Yeah, he had so many lines, where there was another line too where they talk about hitting the deer on the way there, right?
Yeah.
And the dad goes off about
I
deer.
don't mean to get on my high horse, but I'm telling you, I do not like the deer. I'm sick of it. They're taking over. They're like rats. they're destroying the ecosystem. I see a dead deer on the side of the road. I think to myself, that's a start.
Like, fuck these deer, blah, 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 blah. I hate these deer.
Well, deer was not I don't think deer meant deer.
Oh, I meant bucks, right? Because the terminology.
No. I think it was euphemism for maybe potentially more racist connotations.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought that too. And then when they're doing the tour too, like you see statues of deer, like not downstairs in the basement, but openly out there. So like, well, if he's going off about deer, why the fuck do you have,
why do you have statues of deer? Why do you have deer? Yeah, no. The dad was played by a really cool actor. It was the guy who played Eric from Happy Madison. Remember, like the bad guy. The dad was that actor.
Oh, really?
Yep. And he also was in that Cabin in the Woods movie as one of the.
Holy shit! I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
Right.
I recognized him from that.
I mean Billy Madison
or Billy Madison? Yeah. No.
Happy Madison's his production company.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. No, Billy Madison.
That blows my mind. I didn't know that was him. Damn. Huh. He is a good actor, and he's great in this. He is a good actor. Too. He is great in this. One of my things too, as I was watching this movie, my biggest question was, because I knew this family was fucked up and something was going on here. My biggest question was Rose in on it. Now, Bearclaw, you said right from the jump you were
I don't know. Something just seemed off about her from the get-go. She seemed too together, I don't know, maybe that was just my read early in the movie, but she seemed too like
there was one line that she said that instantly from the first watch through I watched that I knew he would have voted for Obama if he had a third term. For a third term.
Yes. So that is what, to me, like, so I was questioning, like, is she on this? And then when he's talking to the dad and he's like, I would have voted for Obama, best president of my lifetime. I was like, holy shit, this is a rehearsed line.
This is something.
Because, I was thinking, like, if Logan is introducing me to somebody, right, he'd be like, oh, yeah, my dad would have voted for Obama for a third time. But there's no way I would have said the exact, like, oh, yeah, I would have voted for, like, it was too fucking cliche. Like, that shit does not happen. You know what I mean? So that's what set it up. What about you, Dan? Did you think Rose was in on this?
No. I was kind of, like I said, the first time I watched this, completely oblivious to everything going on. But like watching it through these last couple times for the pod, for me, I was picked up more on a lot of symbolism. Like the more I rewatched it, the more things I picked up on. And to kind of tie into our discussion, the opening scene that we're all discussing with, Rose and Chris, the opening scene, they show art on the couple's walls. And two things that stuck out to me was one was a black woman's pregnant tummy, and the other was a dog, a pit bull, trying to break loose from its chain. And like I kind of saw this as symbolism for what we later learn about the Coagula Project being a practice in eugenics. Like the pregnant woman symbolizes like good genes, good biology, and the dog represents strength, power, and obedience.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty deep, man. I didn't look that far, but I appreciate that.
Dog.
Dang. What about the damn deer? What'd you think of that? Like,
with the deer,
at the beginning, where
they hit the deer, and I don't know. I wasn't really quite sure what to make of that. I mean, where he watches the deer could die, kind of thing, and like she's all like, I mean, if something wasn't wrong before, like her being totally cold-hearted about that, there should have been some serious alarm bells there.
What I saw too in my research, and I didn't pick up on it at the time, obviously, because you're going along with the story, but looking back on it makes so much sense. When the white cop is looking for Chris's ID, and she's like, "Whoa, what do you need that for? Fuck you, you don't need that." Like standing up to the cop, you're like, "Okay, this chick's awesome."
I didn't ask who was driving. I asked to see his ID.
Yeah, why? That doesn't make any sense.
Here.
No. Fuck that. You don't have to give him your ID because you haven't done anything wrong.
Baby, it's okay. Come on. Anytime there's an incident, we have every right to ask.
Bullshit.
No, fuck this guy.
She didn't want him to show it because she wanted him to go under the radar, so he couldn't find out.
100%. If he showed it to the cop would have to, if he's a legitimate cop, run him, and it would be in the system. So if he goes missing, the cop just saw him a couple days ago, it would be like 2 and 2 together, right? That's crazy, you know, when you think about that. Another thing I saw too in this research was, and I don't know if this is definitely what Jordan Peele had intended, but in the party scenes, all the old, this is going to get a little political, but all the old rich white people have some sort of shade of red on them. And Chris and Andre, who are the black men there, have blue and a blue shade on them. And there was, you know, research saying that this was done intentionally because of the political systems of, you know, red being the Republican Party and blue being the Democratic Party, and looking into that. I don't know if that's a tie-in at all, but, you know, it is a thing there where, you know, it's like trying to, you know, maybe add in some more layers.
I mean, color's a big thing in this movie, especially with like all the older people wearing black during that party.
They were driving black cars, right?
They're driving black cars, everything like was
symbolized
black.
Leaving in their black bodies.
The dinner party scene actually did make me, not that party, but the dinner scene with everyone at the family, Jeremy, Rose, like everyone, like the family, and just Chris being there, and everything in the house is just like so clear and so white, and then like you have like Chris standing there, and it just looks off to me, where I'm like, okay, they did this on purpose to like show like just like this like very pretentious white family, and then Chris just being there. It felt very like unsettling from the get-go.
Yeah, I think there was this good tension built throughout the movie, like what's going on, you know, like what. And again, like they could have went the over-the-top route of, you know, like they got white hoods and like, you know, and they're really like not trying to be friendly to Chris or like trying to make him feel like a part of the family, but they are. Like, it's weird. It's this juxtaposition of, you know,
well, they're smitten by his blackness.
It's cool, right? They said like it's in.
But now the pendulum is swung back. Black is in fashion.
Well, you know, I guess
black is in right now.
The whole thing is to show how like disingenuous white acceptance or the masquerading of white racism is, you know, in its entirety. How disingenuous and just, you know, and that's what that's coming right from like Jordan Peele and some of his commentary about the movie. About this was in, you know, in Obama's time when everybody was like, "Oh, I like Obama, so I can't be racist," kind of thinking, and without, you know, deep self-examination and all that kind of, you know, good stuff. But that's just one of those things that you know that this movie was meant to be a kind of exposing that and saying that racism isn't gone, and just being, you know, surface polite about it, or, you know, trying to, you know, sweep it under the rug through just good manners or something like that is just not effective. And ultimately it, you know, it uses a horror movie to get that message out, and this was very much a message that the horror movie was kind of built around.
I want to get into that more too with horror movie. What were your thoughts on the ending? Because like Bearclaw said at the beginning, there really isn't a whole lot of horror in this movie, like on the surface. Like there is below the surface, especially, you know, when you start seeing the hypnotism that happens and things like that.
I wouldn't say it's a horror. I say it's like a psychological thriller.
I was gonna say the thing I actually kind of enjoyed that because it, in place of horror, you have tension, and it's, to me, it's Peele is building up the tension like throughout the entire movie with like peculiar behavior and like this sneakiness that's going on. Chris is becoming suspicious. The viewer, you're becoming suspicious. And the more he kind of becomes suspicious of it, the more they're catching on. And it's kind of like this cat and mouse game going on. And I think that builds really like a tense.
Yeah, especially when it gets down to like the bidding scene. Like that to me was a very tense moment. That was incredibly
The thing with Jordan Peele, he has said, is he is a huge Shining fan. Like that's his horror movie. And there is a nod to The Shining at the beginning of this with the blue lettering with Get Out. It's the same as The Shining lettering. But that makes so much sense what you're saying. This built tension building up, and he's doing it the right way with the cat and mouse sort of thing. Kind of like The Shining, very much, in that same kind of atmosphere.
Do you guys hear about the alternative endings to this movie?
No, I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you look into any of that?
Yeah,
What do you got for us?
No. There was a whole other alternative ending where he ends up instead of the TSA guy coming in and it kind of being a feel good ending, he kills Rose with his bare hands. He gets arrested, but he has one last meeting with the TSA guy and they kind of talk. And one of the things that he says is because he went back after he, hit, he was in that white car, he hit Georgina. He hit Georgina. But the fact that instead of just keep going, he had the courage to go back, even though he was going to prison for the rest of his life because, he was a black guy that was caught at the scene of a crime with his hands around a white girl's neck and the house had burned down. So all of the other evidence of shenanigans was gone.
Right.
So now, but it was supposed to be where he was kind of going to be a martyr and that by going back for Georgina, he had kind of freed himself from, not taking action in his mother's death. And then he was going to go and just be in prison. But, Jordan Peele said that was too much of a bummer ending. So he had the whole TSA ending.
I like that as a bummer ending.
And it was a lot more feel-good ending to the whole thing.
Let's be honest with ourselves. How many of us first watched through when that scene was going on and the police car came, you had an shit moment.
Oh, yeah,
like something bad is going to terribly happen.
I thought he was going to get shot by the cop.
Yeah.
Because he's on top of a white woman choking her.
Yeah.
And that's the exact thing that Jordan Peele wanted. Because like Bearclaw said, he originally was going to go with that Bearclaw's alternative ending he talked about. But he thought that it was too much of a bummer, so he wanted that just little taste of the bummer.
In between.
And Logan does make a mention. There was also another ending that Jordan Peele
and this one is my favorite one.
Go on.
Okay.
You want me to go on?
You can go on. Okay. I think you have better notes.
So this one is a little bit like kind of more, we're not sure exactly how it plays out, but the idea is that Rod does come to the house. And he, is going in the house. He breaks in the house and he's looking for Chris. Chris, where are you, Chris? And you see Chris, right? And he goes, and this would end the movie. And he goes in that, I assure you, I don't know who you're talking about. And then it would end.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that would have been interesting too.
That would have also been a bummer.
I think it would have also been a bummer.
That's why they didn't go on with it.
I think I like the martyr ending the best. I feel like that's a good ending.
Yeah.
See,
the ending of this was a little bubblegum for me. If I'm being honest.
I hear you, but I think because this movie deals with a lot of heavy subjects.
It's nice. It's soothing.
Yeah,
but maybe this movie isn't meant to be soothing.
Yeah,
I know. It's a horror movie.
I know
it's
you're
not
right.
But
you know what, though? At the end of the day, too, does anything happen to this family? Because let's assume the house burns down, right? I mean, I know they got their just desserts that they died, but like no one's ever gonna find out what happened.
Well, they're
like,
probably gonna go after them.
Is it plausible that the remaining members of the Coagula group could still be going on with this practice?
That's why I think
who knows how to do it other than them.
I think he'll follow suit with Chris and Rod going after more of the members, trying to find them and trying to stop them.
Wow, so you're setting up a sequel.
Jordan Peele presents Get In.
Get it.
They just show up in the white Corvette there. Get in.
Get in.
Gonna look for these assholes.
And then Vin Diesel pops out of nowhere and he's like, family. He's a part of it.
I mean, Dan, what'd you think of the ending? Did you like it at all? This ending that we actually got.
Yeah, for me, it was the best. The third act to me is like the best part of the movie. I love just the climax, hitting the third act, climaxing, and just bringing it home. I really enjoyed all the comeuppance.
Yeah, the comeuppance is great. What do you think, Logan? You like the comeuppance at the end? I mean, these people deserved it, right?
Yes, but I also didn't like the ending.
Oh, you wanted You wanted what Bearclaw wants, huh?
Maybe.
Guys are on that team.
I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Oh. Why do you guys hate Chris so much?
I don't.
You know what I saw too, which I didn't think about at the time. So I was watching it, And, you know, Jeremy's down. Jeremy's a fucking nutcase.
Oh
doing
yeah,
that
Jeremy.
part.
The brother was awesome acting. Like because I mean, you really never felt right around that guy.
No, especially like you said at that dinner scene too, where he's like about to put him in a chokehold,
and he's like, "Oh, I don't fight drunk."
Yo, I got a rule. No play fighting with drunk dudes. I don't play. I'm just Jeremy.
Anybody else like get like he belongs in the hills have eyes vibe?
Yeah.
I was thinking Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, like I was trying like
He looks
mongoloid
weird.
looking motherfucker.
I hated him. I hated when he was talking about when he's telling those stories about Rose, like, oh, she eats her toenails and stuff like that. I'm like, ew.
But then
that would have been the first thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here.
Here's the thing too. Is Rose is probably just as fucked up, if not more than him.
Well, she bit that dude's tongue off.
Excuse me. Let's be very clear here about Rose. She was eating Fruit Loops.
Yes.
In a separate bowl and drinking milk. If that is not the reddest of flags, I do not know.
Why do you think I put that? Oh wait, did we drop the trailer yet?
We haven't dropped it yet. Actually, it will drop before this episode. Yep.
It's in the trailer.
If that doesn't tell you something is fundamentally sideways
this
here,
girl is
like,
super fucked
So
up.
according to Jordan Peele,
You
straight
can't tell
from
me the way
Jordan
she was
Peele.
eating Fruit Loops is kind of disturbing.
Yeah, I would have left the second. That
you know that
brother
there are
said the
people
story
out
about the
there
toenails.
who put milk in the bowl before cereal.
You gotta
equally
be
red flags.
You gotta be a
be a
crazy
lunatic.
According to Jordan Peele, and this is straight from him.
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
If you put milk in the bowl before
Right
you
to
put your
Bearclaw.
cereal, I need to know that you're out there.
What's your
and,
rationale?
And you need to be detained. Please outlook me at the or please email me at the padded room at outlook.com because you need to be found and
You need to be held accountable
you need
for
to
your
be held
actions.
accountable for your crimes.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, report yourself before you harm other people. with your
According to Jordan Peele,
disgustingness.
he did that scene specifically to prove that she is a mental case. There's a lot of fan
no
theories
duh.
that it was supposed to symbolize.
It was very effective.
Yeah, it was supposed to symbolize separating white from color, but he said that's not the case. He did it on purpose to show that she is a psychopath.
Well, she bit that dude's tongue off.
That should have been a red flag, right?
That should have been the red flag. I don't know why he was laughing about that. I would have been like, you bit a dude's tongue off, and she's like, I didn't know what to kiss.
Okay. To be fair, it was my first kiss, and he slipped some tongue, and I was not expecting it, and it was a reflex.
Look, you don't need to bite a dude's
I've
tongue
had
off.
some bad kisses, nothing like that, where I lost my tongue. So at the ending, right? This is cool because I hadn't realized this until I looked at the research and thought about it more. At first, I was questioning why wasn't Chris hypnotized, you know? And then because then he hits Jeremy with the what is it?
It's like a bocce ball,
in his head, which would have fucking killed you. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah.
But I'm like, well, why wasn't he hypnotized? And then he pulls out the cotton.
Yeah.
In my research, you know, and Jordan Peele has said this, you know, the reason he did it is because of the racist connotation of picking cotton.
Yeah,
you know,
I thought that was I picked up on that.
Yeah,
I picked up on it too when he was scratching at the thing, and he takes a second. And he's like, and then it cuts right back because I was like, he took a second to like after picking at the couch
to
and
do
was
that.
like,
I mean, that was great writing too because he does it throughout the movie when he's sitting down.
Yeah, it's his nervous tick.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It's not like he was trying to do it. It was like he kind of stumbled into it a little bit.
That's why I felt like when he was doing it at first, where he was kind of like scratching at it, and he like stopped for a second because he's like, wait a minute. And then like he puts cotton in his ears because it was just like one of those sudden light bulb kind of moment.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the ending. I thought the ending was great because of the comeuppance. Like this family needs to be fucked up. I'm sorry. Like we can't let this go on.
Yeah.
And I thought it was almost a full circle moment too, where he takes the deer head. And
the deer head was cool. Like a lot of how he like is getting out of there was pretty cool. I mean, him kicking ass and taking names was.
Did all the family die though?
Very cathartic.
Well, yeah.
I think everybody dies, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy should have died with the bocce ball to the head, but somehow, you know, he had to have the horror trope, I guess, that he's still alive. But I did like how, you know, he's being choked out. And you would probably imagine if Jeremy was in the right frame of mind and not fucked up, he probably would have choked Chris out. So.
Yeah.
But there is that, because he talks about at that dinner scene, like judo versus jujitsu, and like mentally, like, you know, the difference is it's the mental. You got to be 3 steps ahead.
It's a strategic game, like chess. It's all about being 2, 3, 4 moves ahead.
Well, Chris figures out like how to get out of Jeremy's death grip, because he's trying to open the door, right? And every time Jeremy kicks it, he does it twice. And each time Jeremy kicks the door. Well, on the 3rd time he goes to kick the door, he fucking stabs him right in the leg. Like he figured it out. He was ahead of him. Like I thought that was a great scene. The mom dies, right? Because she...
With the letter opener.
Yeah, okay,
right?
the letter, yeah.
You don't see her death because that probably would put it into R, but she gets it right into the eye, yeah.
This is R.
Or like probably NC-17.
Yeah, they probably had to cut some of that gore out. Plus, I think they cut away because Chris is
still the good guy, so you don't want to see him like, you know, going full like chopping people's heads off and stuff.
I'd be okay with that.
I don't know if I'm looking too closely in the scene, but when they're both going after the cup and the teaspoon, like the silver spoon, you know, going for that sort of deal,
like as
like a symbol,
classist symbolism.
Yes, yeah, that's what
I could see that. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that's cool.
I mean, obviously the surface level is he doesn't want her to fucking hit.
Yeah. But I mean, to your point, like, and to my argument on the whole idea of like uniculturalism, it's like she's got the power. They're wrestling for power.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a cool ending. I wish he didn't go back for Georgina, but you know that makes sense.
Like him saving his soul because of his mom thing. I thought the character development was really great as far as Chris was concerned and his past traumas and why he was the way that he was. And you know, I could see it, he wasn't making like senseless moves. Like he wasn't just ignoring important things. Like there were things that were seriously scheming him out, but there, you know, you're in a new place, you know, there's that whole feeling of being outside, and he's probably strangely, unfortunately, might be used to it, and that might be why he's not as hesitant to like something is sideways here. I got to get out of here because he's used to. Unfortunately, you know, has some degree of familiarity with people being, you know, pretty racist. So,
yeah.
And Rose died too at the end, right? Didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she got shot. I mean,
it's pretty.
Yeah.
That was great.
Did you think
got shot?
I know. At first, I was like, why would she give up the gun
I thought
to
that was the
Walter? Because she knows the Flash.
But maybe she didn't see him in the Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't watch that.
Well, she was too far away, so like she didn't really see it.
You know what? That reminds me too. So at the beginning, it's that guy Andre, right? Who's we'll say presumably kidnapped by Jeremy, right?
Oh, you know, he's definitely kidnapped by Jeremy. The knight's helmet is in the car. The white car that played that bunny. That again, back to the sound design of how awesome the sound design is. The bunny rabbit song, like the farmer.
Rabbit.
Dude, I didn't pick up though that guy Andre was the same guy that became Logan later in the movie.
I didn't pick up on. I was trying to. I couldn't. So dark.
Yeah,
you can't make out like who's who.
Yeah, plus too, it's at the beginning of the movie and you're not like totally focused in on everything yet.
Like, I don't know if that guy who plays Andre and Chris and Andre are having that dialogue. It almost seems like the guy who's playing Andre is trying so hard not to break character. Like, it almost looks like he's like trying to like hold back laughter. Yeah. Like I was watching it, I was like, I wonder how many outtakes of this there are.
I was thinking that too. I was like, his reaction's a little. I don't know. He was
doing the white guy.
Yeah,
and it like that.
I mean, you saw it too, where he goes to give him the fist bump. Miscommunication.
We were talking about that dinner scene where he's telling the story about how she bit the guy's tongue off. I was saying how like, what if that's like what was her first time trying to like kidnap a person?
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, he's just kind of like bragging outright in front of Chris about all this shit.
About how shit she was at first.
Yeah,
she's kind of like improved.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody say a line like, I'm glad she improved or something like that?
They say a line about how like, oh, it's way more pleasant when she captures him than when Jeremy captures him.
You're one of the lucky ones, trust me. Jeremy's wrangling method sounds way less pleasant.
Because when Jeremy captures people, it's the bunny song, it's driving around. And I will say this, I can't relate to the black experience, but there is something about walking through suburban neighborhoods at night that is extraordinarily creepy. Like, it doesn't have the life or the vibrancy or of any more urban areas. It's just kind of real quiet, and that can sometimes be very creepy.
And I think you add him being a black man.
Yeah, in that
white,
you know what I just realized
area.
too? When he was getting kidnapped, Jeremy put him in the jujitsu hold.
Oh yeah, you're right. He came up from behind him.
Oh,
same as he did Chris.
They also said the inside of the white car is black. So it's like white and black. Back to your
okay,
creating this
because the
car got coagulated.
Yeah. Coagulate the car.
Coagulate. Yep. Bring it together.
Oh man. Well, I think we're on to hook, line, and stinker. Now, our hook is our favorite kill of the movie. Our line is our favorite line or quote of the movie. And our stinker is something awful, funny, or weird that happens during the movie that makes it either better or worse. For me, my hook, I'm going to go with the deer antlers to the father there.
Classic. That's
the
a good
dear
one.
old dad.
Yeah, Dean, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
He took them deer antlers. He was kind of, started doing the surgery, right? It's like, this fucking kid, he's taking forever, You would imagine his kid, Jeremy's kind of a fuck off. He probably stopped and smoked some crack down the hall or something like that.
He definitely doesn't. He seems like a crack user.
Does he remind you kind of Klaus from the Umbrella Academy, Jeremy? Like a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he has that same vibe. Like where he's out there.
He's up there
He's
in
got
the clouds.
that weird serial killer, but is studying to become a doctor vibe to him.
100 did study medicines.
Yeah, and he's gonna become like dear old dad.
Yeah.
But I like how the dad pokes his head in the hall. He's like, where the fuck,
what's going on here?
And then all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah,
right in the stomach. So that was my favorite. I just thought his comeuppance was, great. My line is the line that to me, really tipped this movie off as what is going on. It really started that in my head and maybe sealed it in my head. It's when Chris and the dad Dean are talking, and he goes,
By the way, I would have voted for Obama for a third term if I could. Best president in my lifetime, hands down.
For me, this is my line because I knew then it was a rehearsed line. It was scripted. And you can tell throughout the movie, a lot of what they were saying was scripted and how they were playing it off, and so I think that was a big, red flag to me. This is sinister because you are questioning it. You're like, okay, they have some charming qualities. Everything's not horrible. Again, they weren't standoffish with Chris, and it wasn't that.
The mom gave it away for me a little bit too, though.
Yeah.
She was very aggressive, early on, clinical and aggressive, and I was like, she's not really giving off warm motherly vibes. I'm sure that was all by intention, and Catherine Keener is an amazing actress and did an amazing job in this role, but just from the get-go, there was no warm vibes from the mother.
Not to take this off a different path, but I've seen a lot of fan theories on this that there is some connection because of Catherine Keener to being John Malkovich.
Yeah, I saw him respond, or Peele respond to that, just saying I wish that. I thought.
Yeah.
I love this theory. I have heard this theory. It was definitely not lost on me that I was able to get Catherine Keener in her second weird perspective living in someone else's brain movie. We joked about that. And I'm a huge fan of the movie being John Malkovich. I also sat down with Spike Jonze a couple months ago, told him this theory myself, and he chuckled. So as far as I'm concerned, it's true.
It's fucked up. There's a lot going on about it. I think that would be cool to think about. And I don't know if you can find videos on it. send them our way.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know at the padded room at outlook.com. Yeah, of the best Get Out John Malkovich crossover conspiracies. I want to know. Bearclaw wants to hear about it. So definitely
Roar on to Bearclaw.
Old Bearclaw.
Old Bearclaw here wants to hear about it. So
my stinker is well, it's two. I got two. It is Walter running in his clothes. Like I just yeah, like full get up going on. And my second is the deer dying at the beginning. I don't like animals dying.
Yeah,
seeing animals suffer sucks.
It was a tough scene to watch. All right, how about you, Dan?
My hook is Missy's death. That's the mom. It was very
good one.
Very satisfying.
Good one.
Exchange between Chris and Missy. Like, I love the battle and the battle for the cup in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
I love how Chris is so just had it to the point where like she stabs him with the letter opener through his hand.
I was gonna ask
he's just
that.
like nope, this hand's still getting around your neck, bitch. I'm gonna get you.
Dude, I was gonna ask that. I was like, I think she shoved it through his hand.
No, he went in on it to get in the range on her, and then he ends up killing her with his hand. He just backhands her or some shit with it. So like I don't know.
Oh, man.
I really like.
I have to change my hook.
Yeah, no,
that was beautiful. I love that one.
It was brutal.
Well deserved. My line to Bearclaw's point on kind of the music. My lines are actually the opening songs. So, Run Rabbit Run. Little backstory on this I'm going to go into. This became a piece of British war propaganda to ridicule the Germans' failed airstrikes on British military assets during World War II. The Nazis are synonymous, of course, as we mentioned, with eugenic research. You see that the dad is amused by Jesse Owens destroying the Nazis' eugenics theory while validating his by winning several gold medals when the Nazis held the Olympics. The song Sikilisa Kwawahenya is that a cappella in Swahili, and what it's saying is, brother, listen to the ancestors. Run. You need to run far to save yourself. And so I think it's cool, as you had mentioned earlier, kind of with the timing of it. I'm talking in terms of like the context of the movie. Like, it tells you up front, the music tells you up front what you're getting ready to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. That's crazy, man.
So that's my line. I have a runner up. I'm the TS motherfucking A.
We didn't talk about Rod a lot.
Yeah.
He was kind of the comic relief in this.
Yeah, especially with the detectives, and then they bring in the other two detectives, and he tells them all over again, and then she's like, "Don't say I didn't do anything. Never did anything for you. You come here, this lunatic."
My God.
Spouting off.
My stinker is all the dad's interactions with Chris, doing the classic, see, I'm not racist tropes. Like, I can't stand the dad. He's the worst. Bradley Whitfield, good job on making me hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought his portrayal is like spot on. I mean, I've seen it in real life, like just how that portrayal is. It's really good. All right, Bearclaw.
All right, so for Hook, I got Missy Armitage as well. That was a gnarly scene, especially when he takes the knife to the hand or the letter opener to the hand, and he's like, ah, and he just kind of bears through it. I mean, he knows that he's fighting for his life, so that was a pretty cool kill there. My line is, Dean Armitage, you're going to love this. My dad's claim to fame. He was beaten by Jesse Owens in the qualifying round for the Berlin Olympics in 1936. Those were the ones where, and then Chris goes, where Owens won in front of Hitler. Yeah, what a moment. What a moment. I mean, Hitler was up there with all those perfect Aryan race bullshit. This black dude comes along, proves him wrong in front of the entire world. Amazing. Chris.
Tough break for your dad, though. Yeah. He almost got over it.
Like he almost got over it. Saying that he never really got over it. And, you know,
that's kind of crazy. That is like,
yeah. That was something that I picked up on that was very, like, brought me down there. And then the stinker To be honest with you, I found the end to be a little bit of a stinker. I think at this point, when you've driven so much of this home about the racism and you know, the whole movie is built around it, I really think they should have gone with the more aggressive ending there. I'm sure it was probably the result of some studio notes or something like that Jordan got, but
I think they did do test screenings too.
Yeah, they probably did test screenings and people like that. But I don't know. I feel like one of the other endings would have been truer to the tonality or the tone of the movie. You know, the ending kind of struck a weird note where he was like, oh, you know, what's that, like Deus Ex Machina, where he just rolls in and all the problems are solved, and you know, oh, you know, that's all, folks. Deep, you know, like.
The good news is because Jordan Peele made like a boatload of money with this movie, now he can just do whatever
he wants, and he doesn't have to listen to nobody's bull. Yeah, no. And I mean, this movie I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Jordan Peele's take on it. I think it was an excellent, you know, shooting, the music. Like, it was a very well put together movie. So,
all right, Logan, what do you have?
For my hook, I have The Dad's Death by Deer. That was pretty good. Good old Dear Old Dad.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I think it was a good kill. Obviously, like when I watched it the first time, I was like, "Oh shit, he got him!" And it was just such a cool kill. I loved it. I loved the usage of the props, not just like a sudden like, "Oh yeah, knife to the heart, man," like get in, get out kind of kill. But I like it because it was very creative on the part of Jordan Peele and the writing team. For my line, I have one which is Rose, who says,
"You know I can't give you the keys, right, babe?"
That was
chilling. That's when it's just like the oxygen has come out of the room. Nobody's playing any games anymore.
You're fucked.
Yeah,
and like his eyes when he like realized that he's like I'm out. Like, this is just insane. And then my other line that I really liked, I mean, Dan touched on it. I have the full thing, so I'm gonna read it out. Rod, I mean, I told you not to go in that house. I mean, Chris, how'd you find me? Rod,
I'm TS motherfucking A. We handle shit. That's what we do.
Consider this situation handled. I love it. It's the I told you so.
Yeah.
And I love when they do that, especially like in movies and shows when it's just that so like,
hey, listen,
you should have left. It's like when he was talking to him in the bedroom and he's like, you're in some eyes wide shut situation. You gotta get the hell out of there.
I was laughing at that too.
Hey, listen, he was right the
He's
whole
a sex
Yeah,
slave.
he was right the whole time. One of the other theories was that the whole thing was his like
imagination.
Yeah,
right?
imagination and like paranoia, and like that's why it ended with him being the hero, and like it was him imagining what was happening to Chris and not really what was happening to Chris.
Yeah.
But Jordan Peele said that was purely make believe. That's what people.
Yeah, he shot that down. But
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of. I mean, I think they would have
neat. I guess
they would have had to change the ending a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit. You know what? It would have been cool, like, is if Rod like saved the day, and then it's like he got shot by Chris. And then it's like, wait a minute, Chris was like the bad guy all along.
Yeah,
like, and this
Chris
was all imagined. And I don't know. That would be so fucked up. I don't know. Logan, do you have what?
Or like the brain surgery happened already or something.
Yeah. Oh,
or
yeah.
For my stinker, the ending. That's why I wanted to talk about. So for me, the ending fell flat as hell. I didn't like it. I thought it was so stupid. It completely ruined the movie. It made me actually hate the movie because I didn't like the ending.
Hate the movie?
No, it made me hate the movie because of the ending.
I got you.
If they didn't have that ending, it would be 100, like it would be 100% like a perfect movie. The ending ruined it.
Okay.
I didn't like that there was like a 2-minute pause from him like choking out Rose and the TSA buddy comes in. But from like that certain point where he was like, he had the hands up ready to like get arrested and he like gave in because he's like, I'm done with this shit. And then, all the stuff happened. But I was like, dude, what if they just ended it there? I would have been so happy.
Yeah, that would be another way to go.
Yeah.
Just end it there.
Yeah.
You don't need to have, and I would have said like, it should have been like the hands raised and he's like, the cops are talking in the background and all you see is just his smile on his face.
No,
like,
I mean,
done.
I think yours is just the flashing lights and him with the arms raised, because then your imagination runs wild. Is this Rod? Is this a cop? Like, there's no certainty of what's happening. That would be
leave
perfect.
it as a cliffhanger.
Yeah, just like that would have been perfect. And yes, like that would have also sucked, but at the same time, that Rod ending sucked because I'm like, well, yeah, that line was perfect. Like, I love the TSA.
Yeah. You
but like, I wouldn't have gotten that. But like, either way, my line would have been, you know, I can't give you the keys. But like, I think just the ending itself just didn't work for me. I didn't like it. It just felt too bubblegum, like Bearclaw said. Like, I didn't like it.
You wanted the Halloween 3 ending. Stop it!
I wanted the fog ending.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a little,
where like the bad guy wins technically.
You know, did Rose have a smile on her face when she was being choked out?
Oh, for sure.
She had a fetish.
She knew that he was going to get arrested and blamed for the crimes.
So that's why.
That's what the smile on her face was. She knew that even though she was dying, because obviously she was not.
Listen, you went with the deeper theme there. Yeah. I'm going with the like she likes to be choked theme.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
she did like biting that tongue.
I'm sure that plays into it, but I'm thinking more that she's just like
that ain't a cold
no
thing.
matter what you're cooked in the system.
It would have been great if Chris, like in the middle of it, just dropped a "I ain't playing."
I mean, either way, though, the cop scene would make sense now I'm thinking about it, because like we were talking about, he didn't check the ID of Chris. Like, how would he have known that, like, you know, like all that stuff was going on? Because they're in a very remote location. But like, I guess when there's like a whole thing going on, there's going to be like cops. But still, either way, I would have liked that ending a little bit better if they just ended it there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
I think that would have been
way better.
Do you guys have any
would have talked about it more?
Honorable mentions at all?
I mentioned mine already.
Yeah, I mentioned mine.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? For me, speaking about what Logan had with his line and, you know, I can't give you the keys, babe. I do like that line, but kind of a stinker for me, too, is how many times it's like, give me the keys.
Bro's the keys.
Looking.
Right now, he's finding those keys.
Give me the keys. And she's like fucking around in the pocketbook. Listen, I have a wife. I know how those things are, you know, the sunken place for many different things.
Oh, man, yeah.
But, like, come on, dude. Like, she ain't giving you the fucking keys.
Yeah, you haven't figured it out. Like, I just can't believe at that point, you know, I mean, I would really be thinking that maybe she's not on my side.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
like
20 minutes later, still with your hand in the same bag.
Yeah, I might be looking for, you know, some way of losing her.
It would have been great if she just came up with a middle finger out of the bag.
Oh,
is this what you're looking for?
Is this the key right here?
Oh, I found the keys.
Well, we're on to our final rating.
They're gonna rate the movie. What will they rate the movie? The killer is great, the victim sucks, the survivor is in between. What was that?
Now, our final rating system is killer, which it means the movie was awesome. It is one of the ones that we would highly recommend. It is a must watch. A survivor, which is our mid tier. It was really good. We would possibly recommend this to our audience, and there is some rewatchability. And finally, it's the victim, the dreaded victim. We were all the victims in watching it. It's not good. There's no rewatchability, and we would not recommend this. For me, Get Out. I was torn a little bit because, listen, I do think this is a great movie. I think it's one of the better horror movies I've seen. For me, though, it's going to be a strong survivor. I think the acting is amazing in this. I think the tension building is great. The writing is superb. I love the writing. I love it all. And I think it is original. This is something different than, you know, we've seen. So I definitely would recommend watching this. The reason why I'm giving it a survivor and not a killer is just for me personally, I think it's a little bit of, you know, kind of some of what I had with Hereditary, because I liked Hereditary, and I think it's a great movie, but a lot of it is with these sort of movies, the first watch, man, is so fucking good because you're figuring out what's going on. There's clues here and there. It's a mystery. And the rewatchability for me is like an issue because it can't live up to this first watch. And I know a lot of movies don't live up to their first watch. I get it. But like in this situation, like it's a very heavy movie. It deals with very heavy things.
Yeah.
And for me, it's tough to watch a movie like over and over again that deals with a lot of these heavy issues. So that's why for me, I give this a Survivor. It's just the rewatchability. I would like to rewatch this and see some of the clues now that I know what's going on and look for those subtle things. Yeah, I think that would be cool. But like as one of my favorites, because that's really what I put Killer for me is like my favorites, my go-tos. What's going to be in my like must watches all the time. And this is, just for me, not like I'm going to watch it all the time, but I think it is great. So please don't come after me. I actually like this one better than Hereditary.
Okay.
Dan, what do you think?
That's an interesting take.
You're not going to be safe.
I have been waffling back and forth on my rating for this between Survivor and Killer. And I think I'm just going to pull the trigger and I'm just going to say I'm going to give it a Killer. I think it's a very, very intelligent movie. And it's very well thought out. There's so many layers to it. And in its reflection on like racism in America, American culture, class struggle, there's like all these little things, little nuanced things in it that can like, invoke discussion. And I think that's a really, really important concept to a movie is like, is it a movie you can watch and have a very, very awesome discussion about it? Like, is it something that you would enjoy talking about more so than maybe actually the watch of it? I feel like the pull for this movie is like you get to have these discussions.
Yeah.
My rating is kind of in a way it's like borrowed from like how you guys each kind of like critique it. And with respect to like how Bearclaw rates things, he says like, oh, like if a movie has something important to say, like I'm gonna hold it in a high regard. And so that's my thought process with that. And like I also value like rewatchability, kind of like what you were saying. However, I think in some instances there are movies that they are heavy, so it makes it a hard rewatchability, but the content of it makes up for that for me, enough, at least enough to where I can say this movie is a killer because I think it's a big movie. It has a lot to say and you can learn from it. And I think that rewatching it again, like there is some rewatchability to it and picking up on like all the little symbols and hints and clues that we kind of touched on in our discussion now. For that, I got to give it a Killer.
Bearclaw.
For me, I think objectively, I have to give it a Killer. I think this movie does something different. I think it does something, I think it's got a message to it. I think that message is interwoven with the horror in a very intelligent and meaningful way. And I think that's where you see horror shine. And there's a lot of different horror that's social commentary. And this is no different. Also, I think that there's more terror in this movie than I can experience because I have not had the Black experience. So I think that this movie is going to speak differently and will provide perhaps more terror to people who have more of the Black experience. And it's going to speak, there's more terror in this. There's a greater depth of terror because of, some of their experiences and how they might relate to the movie. But it is a truly terrifying movie. And I think that it is worth talking about, and it's a killer because of that.
All right, Logan.
Well, to quote my friend who is a big fan of this movie and also, he's Black, so he can atone to this movie. He said, ain't nothing scarier than walking at night in just the whitest neighborhood. This movie is terrifying. It is truly agonizing to just watch at these certain moments of just terrible and heart-wrenching stuff to watch. Just like this undertone of racism matched with just this structuralism ideology of just racism in America. It's a killer. Like it's bound to be like one of the best like kind of creative movies. Like, there's no movie that I've seen that's like it, you know? There's nothing like I've ever seen that can atone to like the colorful commentary that this movie portrays. Like, it's just a perfect movie to like watch and actually like understand how like these people have to deal with this certain like level of like hatred and fear. Like, Chris never strives from the path. He's never scared from these people. He knows what he has to do when they capture him and lock him up. He's gonna kill them. He doesn't once get like afraid of like what's gonna happen to him. He cares about getting out, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, run, get out, leave, everything they're saying to him, and it's not like it's being said, but he's not allowed to. So when he finally gets the choice of like, hey, I'm locked up, I don't care who the hell is coming with me, I'm getting the hell out. It finally plays a big picture. Like Dan was saying, this third act is so powerful. It's so well written. The first act matched with the second act sets up for a powerful third act of just truly like powerful. It's just a perfect pacing flosion. It's beautiful to see.
I want to ask, you said on the third act, now you said the ending kind of ruined the movie for
and
you.
That's where I'm going to get into this. The ending for me is the only reason I would say it's not a good movie. But I think because of, you know, I'm trying to get past the ending, and even my second rewatch, I didn't like the ending as much. I can see why they did it, especially reading all the stuff about how like they definitely had like issues with people that weren't gonna like it as much because the test audience loved Chris. They wanted Chris to win, so like they had to fix the ending. I agree with doing that for a certain point, but it also makes it seem like you're kind of being a little bit of a bitch, like just allowing them to take over your movie. And I would have loved a cliffhanger. I would have loved for him to go to the jail. I just feel like him leaving this stuff with everything going on is just not as good.
I just want to be clear that the opinions of Logan do not represent them. No.
Listen.
And we are not calling out Mr. Jordan Peele, who we are a big fan of his films. And
yes,
very
we
much
are.
Like
Jordan Peele, friend of the podcast. He's not a little bitch.
No, but he was.
Jordan Peele is an exquisite filmmaker who has brought back The Twilight Zone and many IPs that I respect, and is working with Hideo Kojima right now, and I'm very excited about all of his
Better
things.
get canceled.
No, I know what you're saying, but like we said, he's made so much money now, he can make the movies he truly wants.
Yeah, I think though, like we were saying, like this is his directorial. What did you say?
Directional
debut. So like obviously he was a little hesitant at first to do anything to change.
Yeah,
but now as we have seen like a lot of movies now, well, not a lot, but definitely a lot of newer movies from him, and still going. He's definitely not pulling any punches anymore. He's definitely going all out in the movies.
Yeah,
so very well done.
Now, Nathan, our producer, also wanted to share his rating on Get Out. And he said, Get Out blends comedy, psychological horror, and biting social satire regarding race relations in America masterfully. It's a killer. So, killer from Nathan as well.
Yeah.
Now, we also asked our audience what their thoughts were on Get Out. So, let's check our Instagram, and that's at mouths.of.madness. Judas in My Mind 90. Overrated. Whoa.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Not everyone's going to be on the same side of things all the time, which is cool, you know. And that's what we want to celebrate on our podcast, is we all have different opinions.
I just got to say something about that overrated thing. I saw the clip on YouTube, or like the picture of him like crying in the chair. When I saw that first, I was like, okay, so something really messed up happened. And then it was just that, and I was like, that was a little, like, yeah, that was traumatic for him, but like, it didn't come off as like...
It's because those were all repressed feelings. So
I know, I'm just saying, like...
It was like he was crying for...
That's the only thing I would see that would be overrated. Like, but that was still perfect in the movie when you watch it out.
From Undead Symphony Pod. Loved it, as I'm a big fan of comeuppance. I can happily start it from when Chris has worked it out and fights back. Oh, see, they really like the comeuppance part.
They must like Rocky.
Somewhere, over, madness. Oh, they got a little madness in there.
A little madness.
Feeling a little madness.
Ooh, yeah. Look at the madness.
Real good movie. Straight to the point.
Yeah, no.
I like it. Utterly horrific. One of my favorites from Peele. Absolutely loved it. Get lost in lit bookstagram. I like the handle there. Loved it. Heart emoji over the face. Melanie _ Saint George. Great movie. Yes, Melanie. Great movie. One last one here from, I'm going to read this one out because I don't know how to pronounce it. It's SAUTESOUTH _
Editor's note, that spells Saute South. They are the Saute South podcast.
Still my favorite Peele movie. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. Yeah, bring the fire.
You could have just said fire emoji 3 times.
This is not triple fire emoji.
He was trying to fire it up.
Fire it up. Fire it up. That's your favorite movie, guys.
Well, we'll be back again soon with another episode. And this time we're going to be reviewing the classic Jaws to celebrate summer the right way and kick it off, right?
Yeah.
Nah. Nah.
Dun dun.
So look for that coming up soon. But until then, back to the padded room with you. Oh, man, that was a great episode, guys. Whew. Always fun. Oh, I dropped my phone.
What's going on? What?
Dude,
what are you wearing,
why
man?
are you dressed up like the fucking crow?
You look like a
like
clown
ridiculous.
That is depressed and
like,
angry.
Why the fuck are your nips? Why are you shirtless?
Man, let me tell you, those pants are leaving nothing to the imagination. This is awful. How did I'm so chafing so much. I look like that stupid asshole Eric Draven.
Did we do the episode?